Is bidding on your own brand a vital key for success with Google Ads, or is it a complete waste of money? In this video, I'm going to be breaking down a really polarizing question that a lot of brands and business owners and Google Ads specialists are always talking about, and that is, should you be paying for clicks on your own branded name? Now, straight away, and the biggest objection to this is that if you have the #1 organic rank, so you're ranking #1 on your brand name, should you worry about paying for branded terms because you've already got the #1 organic rank? And that seems like a really strong case, but like most things in life, it is a little bit more complicated and we can't just give a simple yes or no answer. So in this video, we're going to dive into the pros and cons and the reasons for why you would potentially bid on your own branded terms. Now, as I said, why would you pay for your own branded terms if you're ranking #1? And logically, that makes a lot of sense. But the first thing you really do need to understand is that even if you rank #1, so you've got the highest organic rank for your branded terms, the #1 organic position only gets clicked on 31% of the time. So that means that nearly 7 out of 10 searches that you get the #1 position for, your listing may not be clicked on. And then that brings us to the other second core point, and that is that if someone else does bid on your term, paid positions appear above the organic listings inside of Google Ads. Now, we could go on and debate on how ethical that is, but ultimately Google runs the search results, so they have a really vested interest in making sure that those paid results appear higher than the organic listings. And this is quite often the biggest case for why a lot of brands and businesses are forced into bidding on their own branded terms, because other competitors are coming in and targeting their traffic. And when you really do break it down, if another business comes in, targets your traffic, you could then lose those clicks. Remembering, even with that organic linking, you're only getting 7 out of those 10 clicks. Then if a competitor comes on top of that and their paid ads appear above your organic listing, you're going to be losing more traffic, even though you've got that #1 organic ranking. And especially if a company is going to be very aggressive about this, a competitor campaign, when they bid on your branded terms, can actually be really profitable. Let me show you one of the best examples here. Now, just before we get into the screen share, I'm going to show you a perfect example of where sometimes a company was forced into having to spend money on their own brand because they were losing so much business. I do also want to let you know about a free tool that's going to help you with your own Google Ads campaigns. And this is my Google Ads optimization checklist. And this has recently been updated, and it takes into account all of the updates which Google has released off the back of Google Marketing Live in 2025. And if you want to get access to my updated Google Ads optimization checklist, just follow that link in the description below. But right now, let's head into that screen share. Now, this is probably one of the best examples of a branded campaign and why sometimes companies are forced into a branded campaign. As you can see, we've done a search for Asana, and Monday were really aggressive with this. And you can even see in with their headline where it's got choose Monday instead. Monday is so much better. What I also want to show you in through here is because they've got the #1 paid ad position and they've built out their ad with all these different site links, you can actually see that the #1 organic listing for Asana doesn't appear to below here. So it's below the fold of what we'd say that people actually have to scroll down to go through and see this #1 organic listing. Now, Asana has fought back with this, and as you can see through here, when we do a Google search for Monday, you can see that Asana has come back with retaliation of their own. But once again, in through here, you can see on Monday, you can see that once again, their #1 organic listing is not there until you people have to scroll down. So I think you can understand that sometimes, unfortunately for businesses, you have to adapt what I call as a defensive campaign. And that is when you see your competitors aggressively bidding on your branded terms, that you then have to start a branded campaign in order to stop losing those clicks. And while I showed you a really high profile example, I've also had examples with direct clients that I've been managing. And one of the best examples that we had was an e-commerce brand where we had grown for about 3 or 4 years, and then some cheaper alternatives came onto the market and they were aggressively bidding on that branded term. So what we had to do is we had to set up a separate branded campaign. And if you do find yourself in that position where competitors are bidding on your branded terms, I would definitely recommend that you put it into a separate campaign so you can control that spending. And then what you also want to do from there is that you want to make sure that your ad copy is super specific. One of the strengths in the example that I gave you was that with the competitor campaign, where I showed you that Monday was being super aggressive against Asana about, that they're a better program or a better platform. When it came to that defensive campaign that we had to put in place, we got really specific with our unique selling points, especially because this brand was going up against cheaper alternatives or cheaper products, but they were also lower quality. So what we did to win back control of our branded terms is that not only did we start that branded campaign, but we got super specific with our messaging. And one of our unique selling points was that this was the only brand that met the safety standards for both the European and the US markets. And because this was a child hearing safety product, and quite rightly, parents wanted the highest quality, that strategy allowed us to win back control and take control once again of our branded searches. So if you do find that you do have another competitor bidding on your branded term, just remember that you don't need to be super worried about it, but you do need to be proactive. The customer is already searching for your brand, so you just really need to make sure that you take back control of that space. Be really strong and clear with your messaging, and do put it into a separate campaign so you can better control that spending and better review the results of that campaign. Now, that definitely makes sense when someone is being really super aggressive towards your brand. But the next point I do really want to make clear is that in this current day and age of the way that Google works, especially with its keyword targeting and its smart bidding, is that there is a lot of what we call accidental branded targeting. And this really comes down because keyword matching, or the way that Google runs its keyword match types, has evolved. A lot of your competitors may be inadvertently spending money on your brand name without them physically or even really knowing that's happening. And the reasons for this is because even with exact match targeting, Google now matches the meaning of that keyword, not the actual keywords in that phrase. So as a result of that, what can happen is, especially in larger industries, we've seen this happen in industries like motorcycle insurance, where exact match keywords like motorcycle insurance can actually target and trigger branded search names within the search terms. And it comes down to Google assigning the same meaning. The other thing that is also happening with a lot of these AI generated campaigns, especially Performance Max, is that it will run testing in all different areas. And if it sees that competitors who are spending in the same areas, targeting the same audiences, and targeting the same locations are getting good conversion traction on your branded terms, it will also target those branded terms. So as a byproduct of this, we are noticing now more and more that businesses are having to, as a point of necessity, start some branded campaigns. So obviously the clearest reason for why you would want to start a branded search campaign really comes down to the fact that you're noticing other brands or noticing other competitors spending on your branded terms. And a real easy way to check this, I recommend you check it every 1 or 2 months, is just to do a physical search on your branded terms just to see if any other ads are appearing up on live Google searches, but also do take note of your organic traffic. And if you start to see your organic traffic results start to dwindle while you're still holding the same position, so if you're still holding the number 1 position, but the total number of clicks are going down significantly, chances are someone is bidding on your branded term. But there are 2 other benefits that a lot of businesses don't think about, or strategies for why you would use a branded campaign or why you'd pay or bid on your branded terms. And the first one is that branded ads allow you to tailor the user experience. What I mean by that is that obviously in terms of an organic result, is that you're very much limited to what page Google ranks. In many cases, it would be your home page, which is not a bad thing, but let's just say you've launched a new product or a new service, or you've got a promotion going on, and you want to really draw attention to that, especially if that product or service is slightly different to what your customers or people who buy your products have known your brand for. The benefit of running a branded search campaign allows you to do 2 things. One, you could send the users through to a different page apart from your landing page or your home page. Secondly, is that you can include site links inside of your ads, and you get to choose those site links. This could be where you add a site link around some different promotions or offers that you are offering, or the launch of your new products or services. So that is also another really effective way that you can proactively use branded search campaigns to really help supercharge a new product or a service-based launch that you're running. And the second strategy where I feel it's really important to run a branded search campaign is that if you're running a lot of top of funnel or discovery-based ads, so if you're running YouTube or demand gen campaigns, or you may be running like meta-based campaigns, and especially if you're a new brand or a new type of product or service, you may find that you're actually spending the vast majority of your money on image or video-based campaigns because you're really trying to find new audiences. And that's where it becomes really, really powerful to run kind of like a catching search campaign, which is running off your brand. So you may be a new company, you may not have any branded searches at all, you may not have even built up that ranking yet. And in those cases, it's really, really highly beneficial to run a branded search campaign so that if people do start to search your brand, you're making sure that you're going to be appearing straight away, even before you have time to build up your organic ranking. So as I said at the top of this video, running a branded campaign is not just a simple yes or no answer. What you do need to think about is how it matches your scenario. And broadly, there's 3 different scenarios. The first scenario is that you've got the #1 organic ranking and no other businesses are bidding on your branded terms. And in that case, I wouldn't worry about a branded search campaign. The second scenario is that you do find yourself in that situation where companies are really strategically bidding on your brand, or they may be accidentally bidding on your brand. And in those cases, once again, you need to set up that defensive branded campaign. Or the third scenario is that if you are operating in a new space and you're running a lot of top of funnel discovery ads and you want to set that stopper, search branded campaign to make sure that when people do start searching for your brand, that they can find your website nice and easy. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Aaron Young from Define Digital Academy. Remember, if you want to get my updated optimization checklist, follow that link in the description below. And if you want to start a branded campaign, I want you to go through and watch this video right here, where I can really take you through the full structure that you should be using for a branded campaign. Or if you want to get aggressive and start a competitor campaign, go through and watch this video right here. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.